program is sponsored by TechTime Radio. Visit them online at techtimeradio.com.
Broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, technology news of the week, the show for the everyday person talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. We welcome our radio audience of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology news. I'm Nathan Mumm, your host and technologist with over 30 years of technology expertise. Our co-host Mike Roday is in studio today. He's an award-winning author and human behavior expert. Now we're live streaming during our show on 4 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube, Twitch.tv, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We encourage you to visit us online at techtimeradio.com and become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/techtimeradio. Now, we are friends with different backgrounds, but we bring the best technology show possible weekly for our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. We're glad to have Odie, our producer, at the control panel. Welcome, everyone. Let's start today's show.
Now on today's show.
All right, today on Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, buckle up as we dive into the latest technology news and stories. Here's what we have coming up on the show today. Microsoft bids farewell to the Xbox 360 store after 2 decades. What cherished memories will fade away with this closure? Siri's also getting a makeover with new OpenAI's ChatGPT integration. But guess what? There's going to have to be a wait because there's some unexpected delays. And Elon Musk's deepfake drama, is it a parody gone bad or true deception? Now, the Artificial Intelligence Act legislation takes the spotlight with James Riddle, our guest on the show today. We're going to be capturing privacy, ethics, and technology in the medical field. Now, what if you had a robot that smiles at you with real skin?
Really?
We're going to be talking about that. James Riddle's got all this information. And, of course, we're going to unravel the matrix behind the QR codes. Do you know what these enigmatic codes essentially were really hot 10 years ago, kind of dissipated, and no one was using them at all? Then, all of a sudden, they came back. They're being used, QR codes. Now they hold hidden gems. Almost every commercial you see has a QR code that you can just put your phone up to. Do you know that there are many scam sites that have QR codes out there that if you go and sign up for a QR code, you're giving away your information, who's going to it? I'm going to tell you today on the Nathan Nugget how you can actually get a free QR code that you know is safe and you can use for anything that you want forever. And then, of course, prepare yourself to make sure you secure your VR headsets, as broken bones and other injuries are happening from people putting on VR headsets and using them each day during their interaction. We're going to be talking about that. I think Mike has that story about what is happening to the VR headset individuals that cannot stay in their space and keep on tripping up over different items. In addition to that, of course, we have our standard features, which includes Mike's mesmerizing moment, our technology fail of the week, and the Nathan Nugget, and of course, our pick of the day, whiskey tasting, to see if our selected whiskey pick gets 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up by the end of the show. Mark will be here talking all about our Kentucky Spirit that we're going to be talking about, our wild turkey, and see what we can get going from there. Now, though, let's start with the latest headlines in the world of technology.
Here are our top technology stories of the week.
All right, story number 1, Apple's artificial intelligence feature to be delayed, says big reports. Let's go to Corinne Westland for more on this story.
Well, sometimes a delay is better than releasing an unfinished product. That is the thought as Apple's upcoming artificial intelligence features will arrive later than anticipated, missing the initial launch of upcoming iPhone and iPad software overhauls. The iPhone maker plans to begin rolling out Apple Intelligence to customers as part of software updates in October. The AI features will arrive a few weeks later, planned for release in September. Back to you in the studio.
All right, so this is kind of a big story. In June, Apple underscored that its AI push with a bunch of new features and software enhancements. We're going to be part of them working with OpenAI. Now, the report comes on out that essentially they're going to need to delay the artificial intelligence features because the landmark European Union tech rules required to ensure that rival products and services can function with this device is one of the reasons, and they're having some problems with their AI. So let's ask you, Mike, is this good that Apple's delaying their feature requests here to make sure that they're all worked out? Or should they, in your mind, just release them as they said they would with the problems that could happen?
I think it's a wise decision. As much as I have problems with AI in general, this represents something that I think is a wise decision, because if you just release it into the wild, you're going to get all kinds of problems cropping up that you weren't expecting. I'm sure you're going to get that anyway, but you know, the odds are going to be higher if they just let it into the virtual world that we exist in nowadays.
So I worked 10 plus years at Microsoft, right? And there's only 3 times that Microsoft delayed an actual release. And every single time they did, it actually ended up having to be a better product than what was going to go to market. So we did this with Windows 98. Windows 95 came on out and they had a hard stop date. They had Jay Leno fly on in for a celebration. They had Start Me Up music all over everywhere. And there was like, no, we can't delay the shipment. This is our date we're going to release it at. We're going to get there whether or not it works or doesn't work. And there were so many problems. And then Windows 98 came on out. Windows 98 was delayed by like 7 months from the initial release that it was going to be, and it was considered one of the more stable operating systems. So I agree that if your system isn't ready to go, Google screwed up with this when they came out with their AI intelligence with Bard that didn't work at all, had all this misconstrued information that wasn't correct. I think you need to wait.
This is a problem with the tech industry in general.
Okay.
Right? They often release things before they have been sufficiently tested.
Yep.
And then they end up with all this mess that they have to clean up. I think sometimes that's not an accident.
Yeah.
Because I think if you really want to find out how many things can screw up, you just give it to everybody.
That's what happens in the game industry a lot, right? They release games.
The gaming industry is the worst. They will send out stuff and it's not even remotely ready, and people will play it and get upset and get mad, and then they try to fix it on the back end.
All right. Well, there you go. Let's go to now the story number 2. Odie, is this yours?
Yes. Okay, so Microsoft is shutting down the Xbox 360 store and web-based marketplace as of yesterday.
Okay.
What?
Yes, it's the end of an era as the Xbox 360 store and marketplace shut down yesterday. Microsoft confirmed the store's pending closure back in 2023. In any event, the shutdown will mean users will no longer be able to buy many Xbox 360 games. However, Xbox and Xbox 360 games that are backwards compatible with the Xbox One and Xbox Series consoles can still be purchased via these newer consoles or the new web.
So I went on this morning.
Mhm.
I had a little bit of time as I was getting ready for the show, and I went to the Xbox 360. I have this Star Wars Special Edition one. I haven't booted it up for a while. It's been a while since I've turned it on, and all the store is completely empty. You cannot buy anything in the store itself. But I have a whole bunch of games that I already have in my library, and I went to a bunch of them that are not downloaded, and I could go and I could download each of those items there. So it's probably the reason that they put this into mothballs is because it was probably a lot more time and effort to run the transactional part of the website than it is just to say, here's cloud storage. You got a game here, click on it and you can download and play with it. I'm sure they made very little money for all of the infrastructure costs that they had to adhere to keep it running.
So what you're saying,
yep,
is that if I own a 360 game,
yes,
and I go and I put my 360 on and turn it on and go to download that game that I own, it will download.
Yes, if you have a physical copy. Now, if you purchase an online copy, it still downloads. What you can't do right now is you can't go out and purchase a game that was available on the store to actually download it itself. So both of them,
right?
This goes back to the whole
as long as I've paid for the game, I still can play the game.
Yes.
Now it doesn't know how long that's going to stay operational, because each third party has different items. So all of a sudden you could download your game today or tomorrow, and they may choose to no longer support that in your up and coming months. This all goes back to the whole digital download versus physical copy.
Yep. This is why it's a bad idea.
It is a bad idea. The same thing when you rent video games or if you rent movies. We have a streaming service that's called Vudu that my family uses all the time to watch movies. And there's a lot of times that we'll purchase a movie and we purchase it with a licensing deal, all of a sudden the licensing expires, even though I spent $19 on that movie. If the licensing expires, I cannot get it again. So there is something to be said about physical copies.
I honestly hate that. If I already spent my money on it, like for example, the iTunes thing.
Yep.
That's so ridiculous. I purchased that. I didn't know I was leasing it.
Yes.
You know, why aren't they more upfront about that?
So, well, this is kind
Because
of
they want your money, and they have to
right.
figure out ways of getting your money again.
and they
And
try
I
to
get that.
create the convenience that, you know what, you don't have to go out to a store and buy it.
Mhm.
But this is why retro stores and retro video gaming stores, pretty connected with this community in the last couple of weeks. That's why they succeed, because they have the physical copies.
Yeah.
And I only buy physical copies now. Again, I may buy my sports game, which each year changes, and there's no actual resale value of it later on after the game's done. But I only get physical copies again
Up
of all my
until about
games.
a year before my fire incident, I was getting physical copies of everything. Now, and then I started switching to all digital stuff.
Okay.
There's a nice piece to that, is that everything that I bought digitally did not get burned up in a fire.
That's true. I guess that is a positive. I guess you can do it that way. All right. So what was your favorite 360 title that you
I
had?
never played on the Xbox 360.
You didn't?
No.
Okay.
But when I did get to play on it though,
Yeah.
at Geek Fest.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
For the
there you
first
go.
time. I don't remember what the game was called, but
You played with it at Geek Fest. You can buy a bunch of those games and those consoles.
I think
Geek Fest 2022,
Yeah, I
July
think-
18th to
shut
the
up.
20th. There's my plug for it. Okay, what's that?
Shut up.
All right. Okay. All right. We're gonna
I
go
think
to
my favorite was Star Wars Lego.
I like Star Wars
Lego
Legos.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Viva Pinata. I don't know. if you
Viva
remember.
Pinata was really good.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, mine was my original one. The original Xbox was Halo, and the 360 was probably the Lord of the Rings games that came on out.
Yeah, those were pretty good.
They were good. All right, story number 3, Mike.
Well, now that we're talking about games, we're going to talk about virtual games and getting injured playing virtual games.
Okay, explain this to me.
So we're going to tell you a story about John Mingione.
Okay.
Okay, Minjion.
He was standing in his living room and he put on his Oculus headset and began playing a Star Wars game. When he's 54-year-old, he had given the virtual reality device to his son as a gift, and he was testing it out.
Okay.
Soon he was in a pitched battle with a stormtrooper and getting closer and closer to the edge of a cliff in the game.
Okay.
Mingione then lunged forward and suddenly felt himself falling over the edge. But the ground came much faster than he expected, and bam, turned out he hadn't fallen over a cliff in the game, but he had walked into an ottoman in his living room and had flipped right over it and face planted on the floor.
Okay.
He said the house shook so much when he fell, his wife and kids came running, and they found him laying on the floor in pain, pieces of the remotes and batteries scattered around him.
Okay.
He said he was fine, but his knee was hurting, and it turned out that he had injured both his knee and his elbow. And he hasn't touched it since. He says he's retired.
Okay.
Mingione was luckier than a friend who was wearing a VR headset in a virtual boxing match as his family watched. And a family member said, "Hey, you can kick too." And so the friend kicked into the air as hard as he could and broke his toe on a coffee table.
I'm not trying to laugh. but-
Okay.
No, this is I get that.
Okay.
What headset is this?
The Oculus. This
Okay.
is virtual reality.
This is not the new Apple device.
Really,
right,
really,
It's
what's
not.
going on is as number of people are using VR headset rises, so too are the number of people that are injured, because the virtual reality literally clashes with the real one.
Okay.
Sales of virtual reality headsets have risen from 4.42 million in 2018. Listen to me saying 20,000. How about that?
Wow.
2018 to $21.76 million last year, and are expected to reach 27.26 million in 2028.
Well, those are also like 3 times expensive now, so that kind of makes a little bit.
Yeah,
sense to-
headsets cost from several hundred to several $1,000s a piece.
Okay.
According to Melissa Kovacs, an associate professor of trauma research at Dignity Health Medical Group in Chandler, Arizona, and the study's co-author, unofficial figures from 2022, that she's seen a 100% increase since 2021 in VR-related emergency room visits, reflecting the rise in sales and the use of the headsets. She added the number of injuries is probably much higher than the NEISS figures, since those reflect only people who actually went to the ER. There are people that aren't going to.
I would not go to the ER.
Right?
If
You would just suffer your mistakes.
I'd
like,
suffer it up.
you'd be
I'm not
like,
going
okay,
in
I
there.
was dumb.
Okay, but
I
if
like
you
cut
broke
my
your
own arm
toe-
off.
No, I'm not going in. If I broke my toe, I'm going in and saying I broke it on something else.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not going on in and
So
saying
you're
that
not
I was.
being upfront
No,
about
but
it.
that's an old guy thing. You're like, you cut your arm off, and you're like, nope, it's all right.
That's right.
These injury numbers are small at the moment, but they are increasing at a really alarming rate. Daniel Kutcher, a trauma surgeon who works with Kovacs at Dignity Health and is the co-author of the study published last year, he said that trying on one of the VR headsets himself, he understands how people get injured. It's quite a physical engagement, he said. They're typically used in people's living rooms or their basements in enclosed spaces where they're predisposed to injury if they're flailing around wildly with their headset on and can't see or sense the real world around it. That's what happens. Is the VR headsets mess with what's called proprioception. Do you know what that is?
No.
That is your sense of your own body in space.
Okay.
That's how you balance. That's how you walk in dark rooms when the lights are off. And what you're doing is your brain is getting feedback that your body doesn't understand, so it's less likely to understand its position in real space.
Okay.
And so you're going to be like doing things and flipping over ottomans and kicking coffee tables and slamming fists into walls and door jams like the study talks about.
See, you know what?
Okay.
I played a VR quite a bit. I wouldn't say that I'm an expert on the VR stuff, and I don't spend hours and hours, but it tells you when you put it on that you need to have like a 10-foot by 10-foot space.
Okay, I was gonna say this. It tells you to set a boundary.
Yes, and so when you put it on, it gives you a whole graphic. So if you have something in there, there's a big red. It comes up as a big red symbol.
Yeah. Okay. So it has a
played,
warning,
and I've gotten close to the barrier.
Yeah.
The perimeter, and it says like, "Oh, back away."
Yeah.
Okay. So it
What are
gives
these
you.
people not doing?
It gives you an alert. It gives
does.
you an alert that
Yeah.
you're approaching a barrier.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can talk about that later.
Okay. All right. No. I mean, I get it that people are getting hurt. I just. Is that really the devices themselves that are causing the issue? Because so Odie says no. I'm kind of on the fence.
They literally
they do have a
when
thing.
you're starting up the thing, it tells you move any big equipment
It
or
does.
like furniture around so that
So-
you have.
Hey,
an
Odie, do you
open
ever dry
space.
your hair while you're taking a shower?
No,
Why don't you do that?
because it's getting wet.
Okay, but why don't you do that? There's a warning label on it.
Dry my hair. as
Yeah,
I'm
there's
taking-
drying
Do
your
people
hair
do
while
that?
you're in a shower. You know why there's a warning label on it? Because somebody tried to dry their hair
Yeah.
while they're taking a shower and electrocuted themselves.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
human beings are not known to be really intelligent when it comes to
Also-
this kind of
So
stuff.
this 54-year-old guy clearly probably didn't understand the barrier stuff. And maybe it is a user education that needs to be more.
Well, it's
into
not
it.
only that,
Well-
but he's in the midst of a video game, and all of his attention is
The
on the
stormtroopers are
video
attacking him.
game,
That's
and
right.
suddenly the warning little light that goes off at whatever the bottom or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What it means nothing in the in the
The grand scheme of
screen
the virtual
yeah.
world.
So it's ignored.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
I can't remember if we talked about it at all during a pre-show meeting, but they're making like a little platform that you can stand on.
They have those
They
already.
have
yeah,
some.
There's
there's like a
suspension.
1,000 mini
They're
discs.
basic-
Yeah,
just, you know,
Disney came up with this
They're
brand new
basically
technology.
giant baby rockers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And
And
essentially,
Yeah.
when you walk on it,
It
you
can
really
keep
don't move, but
going.
it does
Yeah.
it. And Disney was the one that came out with this technology, and they do have that available. Those are about $1,500 to purchase, so that's a little bit out of that
Yeah,
price range.
if you're a serious gamer and you bought a $3,000 Oculus, you might want to buy a $1,500
Yeah.
baby bouncer,
Yeah.
adult baby
There
bouncer.
you go. That makes sense too. All right, so
So
Ha-
yeah, I mean that I don't think that should be a surprise to anybody.
It's not.
is it Meta's fault that they see now the Apple
No,
device
because
has
this is their warning.
Yeah.
again?
You know?
Is it their fault?
No,
I don't know if it's their fault, but is there something else that they could do? I don't know. This is the problem with when we have all this technology interacting with things that mess up human stuff.
Nah,
You know,
listen.
is it Tesla's fault that the guy that we reported on a few weeks back was playing on his phone
Instead of Tesla.
instead of paying attention to it? He put Tesla into auto drive and was playing on his phone. Was that Tesla's fault?
No.
Was it
No.
Tesla's fault that their software doesn't detect if your hood's on right now? They had to have.
I
do a
know. I
recall.
saw that.
Yeah, a whole recall on that.
So yeah, I mean, I think there might be some shared responsibility, but the onus is on
Okay,
the
but
person.
they're all okay. Well, look at I grew up with the Wii. What did they do the first time you opened the Wii? and
You had to
about
put that
start
strap
playing?
on.
Yeah, and people
But nobody
don't
played
do
with the
it.
strap. I didn't play
I
with the
did.
strap. Did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I wasn't
congratulations.
gonna get in
I
trouble
didn't
for
play with the
throwing
strap for bowling.
nunchuck at the TV.
Oh, really?
That you
Okay.
might be more risk adverse than most people.
Yeah, I did not put it on. I still wouldn't.
There
bowling.
is a thing called
That's
risk
also-
aversion that makes things a little bit different for different people. So-
All right. Well, you know what? That ends our top technology stories of the week. Moving on, we have James Riddle, our medical expert, joining us in our next segment after the commercial break. Robots with skin. Find out next. You're listening to Tech Time Radio. See you after the commercial break.
This is Mark
And Greg,
for Copiers Northwest
with a terrific offer.
called Printer Care Plus.
It's simple. Buy HP printer cartridges from Copiers Northwest and we'll service your current printers for free.
That sounds too good to be true.
It's made possible due to our HP Copiers Northwest relationship.
Copiers Northwest is an HP Platinum partner.
One of only 2 in the entire Northwest.
And now with Printer Care Plus,
Copiers Northwest will provide free printer service.
as long as they purchase genuine HP cartridges from Copiers Northwest
That's right. IT departments no longer have to service printers.
or fix paper jams with Printer Care Plus.
They can focus on more strategic initiatives.
And let our experienced technicians keep their HP printers up and running.
Sounds like a love-love relationship for IT departments.
Don't get too carried away. So how do they get more details on Printer Care Plus?
Call Copiers Northwest today, 206-282-1200, or visit copiersnw.com.
Copiers Northwest. New ideas, new solutions.
Well, welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Our weekly show covers the top technology subjects without a political agenda. We verify the facts, and we do it with a sense of humor in less than 60 minutes. Of course, with a little whiskey on the side. Today, Mark Gregoire, our whiskey connoisseur, is back in the studio. Mark, what are we tasting today?
I don't
Something
know.
yummy.
I have an empty glass.
You have an empty glass? That's
But
gonna
what
start
you're
a little bit of
supposed,
a
what
delay.
you have in your glasses are
Yeah.
Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit.
Hey, you
single
had the
barrel.
same thing in your glass because I poured your glass,
You did.
which was full a minute ago.
Yeah, and, he drinks normally 2 or 3 glasses. We all
Yeah,
know
I
that,
know.
right? Okay. All right. Okay, what are we doing?
Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit single barrel.
Okay.
For Wild Turkey's website, one of the first single barrel bourbons to hit the market. Each barrel is selected and bottled at their signature 101 proof at the peak of its maturity for the greatest depth of flavor and character.
Mm.
Now, the barrel number, the date, and the warehouse number are handwritten on each neck label, telling the story of the single barrel from which the bottle was created. Full round body layered with rich flavors of vanilla, almond, and honey. Now, this is from the Campari Group. The distillation is Wild Turkey Distillery from Kentucky. It's a straight bourbon. It's non-age dated, but their website does say it's at least about 8 years old. As we mentioned, it's 101 proof. The mash bill is 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12 malted barley. And it goes nowadays for around $59 before tax.
I must be keying off the honey. It tastes like apples to me.
Yeah, it does taste sweet, but
It has
but
a
it did
very
not have
strong.
it did not have a big bite though.
I had a very strong apple flavor and a very nice sweet finish.
Okay,
Nice.
there you go.
I
All right.
hate it. No,
Was-
I'm kidding.
What are you talking about?
Not kidding. I'm
Yeah, I think it's pretty good actually. I think it's
I think we're all enjoying this one.
Yeah,
I know
it's
I
good.
enjoyed my glass.
yeah, you did. We'll have to.
At the commercial break, I'm going to run over there and
Yeah,
pour a
you,
little
just
bit
slug-
more.
you get some more slug.
All right. Well, with our first whiskey tasting completed, let's move on to our feature segment. Today we have James Riddle joining the show. James is the Vice President of Research Services and Strategic Consulting at Advera. He also serves for the Association of Accreditation of Human Resource Protection Programs. James is an advocate for responsibility in medicine and research, but we know him as our Tech Time medical and research expert with technology. Let's get ready to start our Comcast video stream for our next segment.
Welcome to the segment we call Ask the Experts with our TechTime Radio expert, James Riddle.
All right, James, thank you so much for joining the show today. Tell us, where are you coming to us from?
I am coming to you from the sunny desert Southwest today. It is a nice and chilly 110 degrees here in Phoenix.
110 degrees and it's chilly. Okay, and then we're in a little bit of an overcast Pacific Northwest day.
We're at a nice warm
70 degrees.
62 degrees.
It's a 62 or whatever it is. All right. So, James, you are our technology expert. And you know what? I'm excited to have you on the show today because we're actually going to talk about a research paper that you've actually written a little bit about. So that's going to be great to talk about it. But before we do that, you know what? I have Mark in here. And let me just tell you,
you convinced him to look at that creepy thing.
So we all know on the production show meetings that we've had, Mark's been trying to get this story in at least our show for the last 3 weeks, at least.
Yes.
Maybe longer than that. And so we were waiting for James to come on the show. But James, at Tokyo University, researchers have unveiled their work that has managed to replicate human appearance to some extent by creating a face with some surface materials and structures that looks like a human. Can you explain to everybody, Mark knows all about this, but explain to all of our listeners what is going on here in the robotic world of human skin? Ugh.
All right. Well, this is very interesting. So if you remember back to Next Generation Star Trek, what was the main thing that you remember about Lieutenant Data?
Yep. Yes, I do.
His skin was not quite like the rest of everybody on the ship, right?
Okay.
He was super smart, android brain, positronic brain, and all of that stuff. But the first thing that you noticed about him was, dude, your skin looks a little weird.
It did. A little yellow hue.
In order to get us regular humans more familiar or more agreeable to interacting with bots and droids and everything else, one of the things that the robot manufacturers are going to have to overcome is how to make these devices look and feel a little bit more human. So the folks here at the university, they figured out a way essentially to make synthetic skin, which in of itself is pretty cool because you can make something in a petri dish that will mimic and look like and behave like human skin. And then what they did is they attached it to the droid, essentially. And it has like real life servos and things underneath the skin to make it appear to smile. And it looks pretty real.
It's super creepy.
It is a little creepy, but from the standpoint of advancing technology and advancing the way that we interact with the new robots, and it's going to be something that's kind of come into play. So they haven't quite perfected how to make the thing sweat yet, apparently.
They haven't figured out how to make it. But it did look it. So it looks like it looks like
the demo looks like a pancake that smiles at you, which makes it look creepy.
It looks like the old silly putty. That's the only thing I can say. It was kind of it had a different texture and it was kind of being stretched back and forth. So
that one of the problems is trying to overcome the uncanny valley. Either people are going to really like it, or they're really going to hate it.
Yeah, it was a little creepy. All right, well let's talk about AI. Okay. Everyone's talking about AI these days, and we have an expert that has written an article about Artificial Intelligence Act, the AI Act, recently adopted by the European Parliament, which marks a significant regulatory step in the oversight of AI technologies within the European Union. James, explain to us the paper that you wrote, where we can find the paper you wrote, and explain more about this AI Act and technology and in the medical field.
Yeah, so not just in the medical field, but across all various segments of life. It seems like AI is everywhere. You turn on the radio, it's AI. You listen to Tesla, it's got AI drivers, and you've got Waymo equipment driving around here in the city of Phoenix without drivers in it that's supposedly AI enabled.
And getting pulled over by cops.
Yeah,
we talked about that on our show.
You can fool the cars apparently by putting cones out in front of them and make them stop, and they block traffic and such. It's a little bit of a teenager game here in Phoenix sometimes. But anyway, certainly in medicine and research, we're seeing an explosion of AI-enabled technologies, everything from doctors being able to more efficiently read medical scans to synthetic control arms in research that will be able to accelerate how quickly we can bring drugs to market. But amidst all of this, there's this sort of underlying current of fear, uncertainty, and doubt about how does the AI work? What do we need to think about as humans in controlling the AI? And here in the United States, there's been a number of discussions, but the folks in the European Union have actually done something about this. And there is a new AI Act in the European Parliament that comes into effect next month. It comes into effect in August. And it sets guardrails and guidelines around how AI is supposed to be disclosed, what you can do with it, and what you are, probably more importantly, what you can't do with it. And the act is beyond just businesses interacting in the European Union. It goes into, if you're a business and you are selling AI-enabled technology into the EU zone, so that's everybody pretty much in the world, except for maybe some obscure North Korean companies, they have to comply with this new act. And it puts certain human elements into high risk and prohibited systems. Some systems are deemed so risky under the act that they cannot be AI enabled. High risk systems like medical systems, medical device, medical research, where the technician or the doctor or the researcher is actually relying on the artificial intelligence to make a decision that affects somebody's health, that has significant new controls in the EU zone. The guardrails and controls that are not currently part of the United States regulatory framework.
Does that include psychological and or therapeutic references?
Okay. Absolutely. There are certain classifications of systems that are deemed no risk or low risk. So your AI-enabled Candy Crush app is going to be fine, but your AI-enabled breast cancer scanning equipment, not so much.
Okay. And for everybody that's listening,
so when the machines get sentient, your Candy Crush will smother you.
Take care of it. All right. So anybody listening, you can find out, of course, more information at techtimeradio.com with all of this full interview that we're doing with James. James, we're going to go on to our next question. I do see that it looks like we have about 2,000 people that have joined us on our stream right now. So things are working really well. Let's talk about synthetic nanofibers that mimic the actual cartilage formation and maintenance by signaling a protein item. Researchers have found the intensing the motion of the molecules within the nanofibers have led to a complete need for regeneration. Now, this sounds kind of Captain American-like type of technology. Explain what this actually is going on for our listening audience.
Yeah, so this is really Captain America kind of stuff. There's a myriad of examples in nature where animals of various ilks will regenerate after losing something. Okay. Think salamanders, various recreation and regeneration.
Doesn't snakes do that too with their skins and different stuff?
That's not the same thing.
Okay.
Not quite the same, but think about like lopping off the arm of a salamander and it grows back, like complex structures, bones, tissue, cartilage, etc. Humans can't do that. We don't have that ability. Once we become adults, we don't have very much regeneration capability within our
That's true.
You just have to talk to my knees.
That's right. It's on my back after that.
Yeah, and to your point about your knees, one of the things in humans that wears out over time is cartilage, the stuff that is in between your bones. And a lot of people suffer very severely from lack and degeneration of their cartilage. Leads to osteoarthritis. There's 500 million people on the planet that suffer from that.
That's me.
Yeah. So wouldn't it be awesome if rather than just treating the symptoms and the pain or doing knee replacements or what have you, if we could actually develop something that would trigger our ability to regrow cartilage? Something along the lines of like when we were younger, you could actually grow cartilage because babies have to grow more of it in order to get bigger to be adults, and then we stop. So what these researchers have figured out how to do is use synthetic nanoparticles. Super awesome. So not a biologic. This is a chemical, more of a chemistry biology mix here. They use synthetic nanofibers to mimic a certain frequency of cellular, and I'm going to fumble this because even I don't quite understand exactly how these really smart people are able to do this. But essentially what it does is it takes the nanoparticles and it simulates the cellular growth in such a way that your cartilage cells start to regenerate. And so the hope here is that they'll take this out of animal studies, move it into humans, and within the next 5, 10, maybe 15 years, they'll be able to use these synthetic nanofibers. So it's not a drug, it's not really a device per se, but they'll be able to inject these synthetic nanofibers into you, and it will regrow your cartilage and potentially cure people from osteoarthritis. It's super, super, super cool and cutting edge research.
All right,
That's
perfect.
much better than pancake face.
Well, yeah.
It really kind of depends on your perspective.
We're talking to Nathan. I know he wants to be able to talk to a synthetic human.
Well, that would be pretty cool
I
too.
just would rather have synthetic knees.
Is this technology something that you think, James, is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years, next 10 to 20 years? What's your time frame on this? Because I am getting a little bit older. You know what? I get these options of doing surgery or not doing surgery. And so when I hear about these things, it's like, then I watch bad shows like Dr. Death on Peacock, where everybody gets hurt when they have surgeries. So essentially, do I wait 10 years and have this maybe be available to the everyday person, or is this something that is still quite a bit off in the future?
It's still pretty early days for this particular technology. They just were able to utilize the synthetic nanoparticles to generate a cellular reaction just a couple of years ago. So this is definitely not in humans yet. You'd have a better chance of getting Elon Musk's neural implant than getting this thing.
You're a lost cause.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if I trust anything that poor guy does anymore. He's become a little bit unique.
You certainly can't drive a Tesla with it.
No, he can't. That's right. Okay. All right.
But the pancake face, that might be good.
The pancake face, that is kind of interesting. I'm kind of interested on that.
Until they're able to get the underlying muscular structure to work correctly, it's always going to come off weird.
It's going to be really creepy. You get a creepy
because
smile.
That's what controls.
It's like a creeper smile.
You don't have that many muscles in your face, but they produce over 10,000 facial expressions.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So it'll be pretty hard to take the pancake face and make it into something that looks a little more human. But it was pretty neat seeing the little jelly thing in the dish.
It was pretty neat. All right, James, where can I find out more information regarding the article that you wrote? Where can people connect with you? Tell all our listening audience for that.
Best place to connect with me is to follow my channel on LinkedIn. Just go and Google James Riddle on LinkedIn. You can find information about the European Union AI Act out there, as well as other articles similar to the ones we've been talking about.
Okay, perfect. James, thank you for coming on the show. We've been friends for quite a long time, and it's great that we get to touch base, even though we need to now actually probably do a dinner one of these times coming up sooner than later. So we'll have to figure out how we get that taken care of.
Sounds good.
Always great to have you on the show. Hopefully we get you on next month. There's a 2 or 3 articles that I know I sent you also that were really cool that we just didn't get time to talk about it. So my staff loves our production show meetings, especially Mr. Gregoire, finding articles that are out there, queuing them up so that when we have you on the next show, you can talk about them. So we'll make sure we get you more of those.
All right. Very good.
All right. Thank you so much.
Take care, James.
Our Ask the Expert with James Riddle. Thanks, James, for being a part of the show. Only on TechTime Radio can you get your technology news on the science of tomorrow with the technology of today.
Are you
now
serious?
Up, we have Mike's mesmerizing moment.
Welcome to Mike's mesmerizing moment. What does Mike have to say today?
You found a way to put that in the show.
I did, Mike. All right. With VR becoming more mainstay in homes, why are people not setting up a place to play VR safely? We kind of talked about this. I'm coming back to this. Explain to me what's the human psychology when it tells you to get a 10 by 10 space to play the game, why as humans are we not doing this?
Well, first, 10 by 10 is a large space to have.
Okay.
My living room is not 10 by 10.
Okay.
Right? I live in a small apartment.
Okay.
Secondly, they probably don't know. They don't know to do that.
Right.
Even though the instructions say to.
And it does
they
when you
don't
put
know.
the unit on.
Because we're so inundated with warnings and labels and things, we don't even read those anymore.
That's true.
Right? We all know that there's a label on your hairdryer, like I said earlier.
You don't want to take it in and
I
drop
don't
it in
know
the
how
pool.
many people have ever looked at that label, and it will tell you, don't use this while taking a shower.
Yep.
Okay? Because that's how stupid we can be.
Okay. So it's just kind of the same thing here.
So there's that I think that's part of it. And people don't understand what a virtual world is like. They don't understand what that loss of proprioception means. They also are probably like you, and they're like, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, although, I haven't gotten hurt on my unit because I actually do make sure I have enough space if I'm going to do that because of the warnings. I have a little bit more like Odie-ish, and make sure that I'm safe in the space that I'm playing because I know that that's not a real world.
Well, according to the study, most of the injuries they quoted were actually from children.
Okay.
Who do not have a real good grasp on
sense.
a lot of things that
Their parents
most
give it
people
to the
do.
type of deal and they just put it on and they say, okay, I have enough space.
Go ahead, go crazy. And they do, and they punch walls and have to end up going to the emergency room. So I think an adult would have a little more ability to understand that. But again, when you're in that environment, even with a 10 by 10 space that you've locked out, you're going to move around in that space.
Yeah.
And if you're really into that game so much that you're not paying attention to the the peripheral devices that are going off and saying warning, that you're going to break that barrier.
Okay. I know that my VR set, there's this one game, it's a fishing game, and you actually are supposed to sit down, and I just sit down and I just fish all day.
Man, you gotta give me that game.
I'm
That
pretty sure that wouldn't qualify for what we're doing.
I wouldn't qualify. No,
No,
you need to do the fighting games. You need the energetic games.
I'm sitting there right to the left of my deal. I got a cooler with beer. To the right, I got my lures, and I just sit there and I just
that sounds like a good
Dude, that's my game right there. I could do that for hours.
It was really fun.
My brother's game is one where he pretends to be an ape.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
and I've seen him run into things.
Is that
but he's also 14.
Is that the gorilla one?
Yeah, the gorilla one.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was cited in the study. Actually,
that makes sense. Okay.
All right. Well, that ends our mesmerizing moment. Up next, we have This Week in Technology. So now would be a great time to enjoy a little whiskey on the side as we're going to be doing so during our break. You're listening to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm. See you in a few minutes.
How to See a Man About a Dog. It combines darkly comic short stories, powerful poems, and pulp fiction prose to create a heartbreaking and hilarious journey readers will not soon forget. Read How to See a Man About a Dog, collected writings, for free with Kindle Unlimited. Ebook available on Kindle, print copies available on Amazon The Bookpository, and more.
And now, let's look back at this week in technology.
Oh, all right. We're going to take a look at July 29th, 1958. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration is established in the United States. NASA plays a crucial role in space exploration, scientific research, and technology advancements, including the Apollo moon missions and the development of the Space Shuttle program. Without NASA, our space programs would not be where they are today. That was This Week in Technology. If you ever wanted to watch some Tech Time history with over 200 weekly broadcasts spanning 5+ years in video, podcasts, and blog information, you can visit techtimeradio.com or watch our older shows. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we have the Mark Mumble Whiskey Review. See you after this.
Hello, my name is Arthur, and my life's work is connecting people with coffee. Story Coffee is a small batch specialty coffee company that uses technology to connect people to each product resource, which allows farmers to unlock their economic freedom. Try our Medium Roast Founder Series coffee, which is an exotic bourbon variety that is smooth, fresh, and elegant at storycoffee.com. That's STORI coffee.com. Today you can get your first bag free when you subscribe at storycoffee.com with code TechTime. That's STORI coffee.com.
the segment we've been waiting all week for. Mark's Whiskey Mumble.
All right.
All right. What do we got?
My heart is overflowing with love today.
Your heart is
That-
overflowing with love today.
That's a little vaguely disturbing, Mark.
Do you know what? I think I know what today's deal is.
Take it.
I think it is like best friend day. Is it best friend day?
Well, first off, before
No?
we get there, it's
Okay.
my parents' 58th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Oh,
You
okay.
see?
Okay.
Not even what.
And it's International Day of Friendship.
Oh, okay. Well, I was close then.
Yeah.
What is this music?
This is Queen.
Okay.
Best friend? Yeah.
Best
Oh,
friends.
best friends.
Best
Oh my
friend.
God.
Okay.
Come on. The
That was
best
close.
friend
I
song.
saw an Olympic update, and then I
Nate-
saw that today
Nathan's
was a.
not as Gen X as he thinks he is.
I like Queen. You ever hear Bohemian?
Oh, yeah.
Bohemian.
Bohemian
Anyway.
Rhapsody.
Well,
Mark?
let's get back to the
Okay,
theme of best friends,
Yes.
buddy.
All right, best friends.
All
bud.
right. Friends who are like family,
Oh,
good friends,
yes.
even frenemies
Oh,
are cherished on International Day of Friendship.
okay.
This day was designed by the United Nations General Assembly to take a moment to step back and get thankful for those relationships worldwide or sitting next to you in the studio
I'm glad
As-
they have a day for that.
That's right.
as they promote and encourage peace, happiness, and unity.
And love. Peace and love.
Plur.
All right. After talking about our love, should we move on to our whiskey?
My heart's pounding. That's so good.
Hey,
Okay.
you guys,
That may
you
be
guys
from the
need
whiskey.
to cool off a little bit. Let's talk about something else.
All right, here we go.
Let's talk about Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit.
Okay.
As we talked about, this is a single barrel bourbon, which means no two barrels will be exactly alike. Now, the first release was in 1994 and is said to be the second single barrel bourbon to hit the market after Blanton's.
Okay.
Now, single barrels are selected by Jimmy and Eddie Russell. Jimmy Russell, the master distiller at Wild Turkey, is also known as the Buddha of bourbon, and it's widely known for his friendliness and approachability. Fans and colleagues alike often speak highly of his willingness to share stories, knowledge, and his genuine kindness, making him a beloved figure in the bourbon community like Nathan Mumm in the tech world.
Is this where you got the whole best friends thing from? Is this? Yeah.
That's why we chose this whiskey today.
Lord have
There
mercy.
you go.
Now, the big question is, how does Mark feel about this whiskey?
Okay.
I know what that's what our viewers want to know, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
So
they
for a
all
long
care
time-
about that.
For a long time, I ignored this bottle. I did not see how it fit in the whole Wild Turkey's lineup. They already have a Wild Turkey 101, which is the same proof point as this, though it's a blend. Now, for higher proof, they have Rare Breed, and that's also a blend. And for single barrels, they've come out since with Russell's Reserve single barrel, which is at a higher proof and is delicious. And we've had it on the show before, and big things, thumbs up. So why Kentucky Spirit? Where does this fit in the lineup? Well, basically because it's a perfect balance of age, proof, and the single barrel expression that Wild Turkey has on the store shelf. It's a perfect sipping whiskey for all type of drinkers.
Okay.
So it gives you that robust flavor, high enough proof point without burning a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a single expression. So each bottle has a little bit of a uniqueness to it.
Okay.
So this is my first bottle I have. Well, of the new expression. I have one still unopened of the old bottle, which is looks like a turkey feather.
Okay.
Like the fan as it fans out. So
Where does this?
I would have brought that in, but I was scared you guys were going to open it.
Where does this sit on your shelf?
This particular one, this is just a regular one. I would switch between this and Russell's Reserve and Rare Breed. I always have a Wild Turkey on my shelf to drink.
Okay. All right. I'm liking it.
I always have a Wild Turkey.
Are you are a Wild Turkey, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? Technology and whiskey. What a perfect pairing. Just like watching the Olympics on delayed broadcasts here in the United States.
How was that a pairing?
Well, because this is a beef with me. So I get my alerts of my sports events when everybody wins medals, and then I sit at home at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night. I see the NBC broadcast come on up on our local station, and I replay everything that I already know that happens. If I watch the BBC or I watch the Canadian channel,
Is that
it's live
anything? Is
sports,
that
it's
anything
available.
like you going to a movie and then throwing out spoilers to everybody later.
Whoa. Let's not even cover that.
So I don't. I love your
turn off
parents,
your mic,
Nathan.
sir.
I love your parents as much as I love you. This one I'm a little concerned about because this is not a good one. This is like a negative one.
This is Nathan Nugget.
And we can't do that about the whiskey.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I was just saying the pairing is like the Olympics and a delayed broadcast. That's the only way you get.
They go hand in hand.
I'm not sure that really equivocal. Never mind.
All right, let's play a pair for our technology fail of the week, brought to you by Elite Executive Services, technology experts to help you out of a technology fail.
Congratulations, you're a failure.
Oh, I failed, did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
All right, well, this week's failure comes to us from Elon Musk. Does that surprise you? Now, Elon decided to post a deep fake of Vice President, running-elect President Harris, that violates the X policy. The platform owners essentially posted a digital altered campaign ad of the vice president without context that it was not real. Elon shared the deep fake video spoofing Vice President Harris on X. Despite owning the platform, the post appears to violate the platform's policy against synthetic and manipulated media. Now, the video was shared on Friday, alters recent campaign videos. Essentially, the original video was posted as Vice President Harris campaign ad parody with a disclaimer that would allow it to be posted on X policy. But Elon decided to not put that label on there and reposted himself with it being essentially a legitimate posting. His comments were added to it later saying, "This is amazing," with a laughing emoji. Now, the post is the latest fire that comes under ex-CEO Linda Yaccarino may be tasked with squashing her boss's action. X did not immediately provide a response to the comment. Interesting is that Musk then came back later after being called out by California Governor Gavin Newsom. And essentially he said that I checked the authorities and Professor Sigon D. Nuts said that it was
That's
a
not
parody.
what that is. It's Sugon D's nuts.
Professor Sugon D's Nuts said that it was parody is legal in America.
Did you not get that? Did you?
I was trying to be nice with that. I understand what he was saying. I was trying to make it sound more
So Elon fired back at somebody for calling him out.
Yes.
And told him to basically
suck something.
Yep. Because he's the owner of X and he's willfully putting stuff on X that is not supposed to be on X.
Yes.
Awesome.
Isn't that nice?
Elon, we are
in a weird world. We got some unique stuff going on with our presidential elections with this. It's just getting crazy. Now, speaking of crazy, let's move to the Nathan Nugget.
This is your Nugget of the Week.
All right, QR codes are back.
These aren't like NFTs, huh?
Well, NFTs are kind of in the downturn right now. I'm sure that they'll come back again and they'll be really collectible and everybody will like them. I got a story here from a local preschool teacher who was looking for a way to get a QR code to be a part of the marketing campaign and was confused with all the websites on what was safe and what wasn't. Was there bad information? Could they go and sign up for this information on a site? Many of the sites now even charge for QR codes. Now they do some tracking with them, so there's some reason to be charging for that. But this person just wanted a simple QR code so someone could visit their website. Well, guess what? If you use Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge browser, you're in luck. Click on a website page, scroll off on any content on the page until your blank space area, and click on your secondary mouse button. That's right. You'll be given an option to create a QR code for the website you're currently visiting. Now you have the QR code forever. It's free and no need to sign up for QR codes online. This makes this option now creative and easy for anybody to use to share their websites. There you go. That was my Nathan Nugget of the day. All right. And now it's time for our pick of the day whiskey tasting.
And now our pick of the day for our whiskey tastings. Let's see what bubbles to the top.
All right. Today we are drinking Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit, which is a single barrel from Campari Group out of the Wild Turkey Distillery, straight bourbon. It's roughly 8 years old, 101 proof, $59.
$59. I would pay $59 for this taste.
This is normally any whiskey I give a thumbs up is not something I would rush out and buy, but this was one that I am considering actually going out and looking for.
And you could get this at, it looks like it was at Wines and More here with the Total Wines and More.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's all over the place. It's easy to find.
It's
almost any liquor store.
So this is so good of a thumbs up that I will probably own this in the next few days.
Yeah, same here. I'd say a perfect thumbs up for myself too. This
all
is
right.
really good.
Excellent, gentlemen. Don't forget, everybody out there, to like and subscribe. Heaven can wait, so drink responsibly when you do drink.
That's right. Okay. This, you know what, this would be perfect whiskey out with a little cigar out on the porch, enjoying the summer night.
You know, traditionally it's brandy and cigars.
I don't know. My tradition is now whiskey and cigars. Forget the brandy.
I don't think this one would work with a cigar. It's a little too sweet. You need something with more bold flavors.
All right. Well, we
That's
want to
why
thank
brandy
everybody
and
for listening to
cigars.
the show. Join us next week where Bites collide, Circuit sings, and Geeks reign supreme. I'm your host, Nathan Mumm, signing off with a
Thanks for
binary
joining
wink.
us on TechTime Radio.
Bye.
We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at TechTime Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.